Hi. My name is Timár. I work for Volksbank as an IT architect, and I would like to share with you my experiences related to TMON, respectively my thoughts on logging. I wonder whether it happened to you that acquaintances or relatives asked you what you do for a living. And sometimes it is quite difficult to answer because these acquaintances are not IT people, and one thinks for a while what to say. If I say that I currently work with TMON, and this TMON is an integration monitoring system, most probably they will look at me with eyes wide open, and they will nod vigorously, but in reality, they don't understand anything. Therefore, I started to think what I can say in such cases. Should I circumscribe what I do, or should I search for an analogy? And frankly, the analogies were the ones that proved to be useful as explanations. So here in the case of TMON, I also tried to search for an analogy. So I think that this TMON, the monitoring, is something similar to the surveillance system of a building. In the surveillance system of a building, there are smoke detectors, and these detectors are connected to a central place, and, if there is smoke, the detector sends a signal to the center, which in turn will induce an alarm, if configured correctly. So, this explanation or analogy ended up pretty technical as well, and I was thinking that it would be good to find some other explanation or analogy for TMON. I have acquaintances who are historians, and they made me think of a medieval analogy. There is a king who would like to know what happens in his country, and he sends off chroniclers to the country, to the different parts of it, and they record what happened in the given part of the country, and send these chronicles up to Buda, and here the king and the chancellery around him evaluate those. Then they file them to the archives in a specific order. Then a few hundred years go by, and historians come to study these logs or chronicles, and to assemble different relations about the given era. After the short historical tour, let me tell a few words about the history of TMON. A decision was made at Volksbank to implement a treasury system called Spectrum, and this system is connected, among others, to the securities account management system, to the account management, respectively to a front office system. We thought that too many interfaces would be needed to connect these. We would need to build many point-to-point connections. Because of this, we imagined the following architecture, and we implemented it. All systems communicate with each other through the ESB. Then, we place a logging point on the ESB, and we transfer through this all data, passing through the ESB to the monitoring system. The very good thing that happened was that we could profit from TMON not only at the end of the implementation, that is at go live, but already during the implementation. This was due to the fact that we could prepare the integration tests using TMON. After the system went live, we have seen that this concept is very nice and very good, but what would happen if we put additional logging points into the system, and we had even more information about the data flow? We started a project for this. In this project we have designed the logging concept itself, then T-Logic has validated that, development has started, respectively testing is in progress at the moment. And this is how the architecture looks like. You can see that there are 6 logging points in our system. I could model this using the historical analogy as follows. The king sends off his chroniclers to the endpoints, and they send the given logs. At the end, a historian summarizes and evaluates these logs or archive entries. As with any analogy, there is something flawed in this one. The completely true part is that if we want to know exactly what happens in our country, in its different areas, then we need to send off chroniclers there, and we need to provide to these chroniclers the parameters, based on which we get back the data that we are interested in. So we have to correctly define the logging points, we have to define the data that we are interested in, we need to know how to categorize them, respectively we have to be able to store them and to make them retrievable. We mustn't forget, and it has been mentioned a few times in the previous presentations, that TMON is not a system consisting of itself. TMON comes alive, in fact, if it is connected to more and more systems. We consider it is very important that the application developers, who supply various applications to us, accept the significance, necessity, and importance of TMON. Definitely they have to be educated why TMON is good, and how TMON operates. So we need to get their acceptance, that they should not just place an isolated system into the bank, but the application has to be really integrated into the banking systems, and they should not just put their working system that operates at go live, but they should put their system that can be operated for many years. For us, the ability to operate means that we see exactly what happens, and we can do that using TMON. Well, we have operations experiences from the past times. Nowadays, we frequently meet consulting firms who tell us what has to be done in times of economic crisis, how one can survive the economic crisis. Usually these presentations contain that the company needs solid, reliable basis. They contain that the company has to be able to react quickly, and also that it has to comply with the changing legal regulations, respectively. They use to highlight that one needs to rely on reliable partners. If we collect these points, we can see all of them among the collected operations experiences. TMON is a reliable system that operates at our company for more than a year now. It is scalable. We started small, and by now 12 systems use it. It speeds up the reaction. The times for delimiting bugs have decreased significantly, because the logs are centralized, respectively. Not only that the logs are centralized, but the log entries are placed continuously in a structured way. Additionally, it is also a possibility to see what happens even within an application, obviously only if the logging points are built that way. So we can supervise the internal processes as well, compliance with the changing regulatory environment. I think I don't have to talk too much about this. I have found two common points in the three Raiffeisen Bank presentations. One was the logo at the top, the other was that all three contain audit. Well, we also have regular audits, and this and that is requested from us, who did what, when, and where. Another very important thing is the reliable partner. A company can survive if it has reliable partners and suppliers, and we have found this on the side of T-Logic. I can say that the developer support we receive on the side of TMON is reliable and quick. Further advantages, as I already mentioned, logs can be found in one place. If a new operator comes to the company, she doesn't need to learn all our systems and search what log she finds where and in what format. Instead, all this can be found in one place in TMON. This means that learning time decreases, so operations become cheaper. I have also mentioned integration testing. Supporting the operation of the live environment, we had several cases. Let me mention two of them. First, we have a source system, where the file creation is started manually, and then a scheduled application extracts them, processes them, and transfers them to the target system. We noticed that nothing appeared in the target system. Using TMON, we could determine very quickly that the user of the source system has not started the file export in time, so we just had to rerun the small processing application, and the file already arrived to the target system. Now, what would have this process looked like without TMON? Without knowing this, then the system administrator notices that the X thousand items have not been transferred from SAP to the other system, so we quickly call the accounting. The system administrator calls the accounting, whoever she still finds there, and tells her that the items are missing, and the answer from accounting is, "But I have sent it, I have placed it there, I don't understand what happened, I did what I always do." So, dear IT, if you don't know, how would I know? We could avoid this useless phone call using TMON. We could solve the issue in time. We could upload the SAP file before starting the closing of the account management system. Another thing is that it is very good from this perspective, if IT can show to the business users that they know what happens in their systems, and they don't start running after business users to find out what they have done. Second, Another thing that happened, we have business users who pay quite a lot of attention to what exactly happens in which system, and they called us that the data should be there already for half an hour now, and it is still not there. Then suddenly the data appeared. We could check this thing very easily in TMON. What happened was, just that in the source system, the timing of the sending was modified for some reason, and it sent the data to the other system, half an hour later. So we didn't have to do the following, starting an investigation. Let's look backwards. If it didn't arrive to the target system, then look into the target system, why the target system hasn't processed it. If we are through this, then let's have a look how it got there. We need to check the forwarding mechanism, etc. So we would have had to check all this, one by one, but it was much easier to follow it in TMON, and to get the information from there. So, as you can see, we can use TMON for many things, and we are satisfied with it. Irrespective of this, we have further plans with it, plans that extend its functionality, respectively its usability. We'd like to build logging points into more of our applications, respectively we'd like to do it in a structured way. We also include it into our development standards, how it needs to be developed, and how the applications that get into the bank need to perform the logging. We started a project that will connect TMON to our alarm system through an SNMP trap. Because more and more applications will log into TMON, we consider that it is necessary to develop an archiving and backup strategy. Respectively, we'd like to achieve not only that more and more systems log into TMON but also more and more people should use it within the company, even business users. So we'd like to provide TMON to people in business areas having IT affinity, so that if they are interested and consider it meaningful, they can have a look at it. Obviously, a sophisticated permission system is important for this, and we think that with the integration of TMON and TCPS, we can easily deliver this. Respectively, if we already have many logs in the system, why don't we utilize them, and look back, what happened in our systems? We'd like to provide regular audit reports to the leadership from the database of TMON. Thank you for your attention. If there's any question, I'll be available in the break, and the colleagues from T-Logic as well. If anybody is more interested how medieval logs looked like, I can recommend to them the current exposition of the Hungarian National Library, where the to say, most ancient Hungarian log, the founding charter of the Lake Balaton Abbey, is exhibited too. Thank you.